Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to be finishing up the first chapter in Z-fari, and if you haven't been reading along with us, you might want to go back and view Z-fari 1.1 and Z-fari 1.2, which you can find on YouTube and on the Z-fari Facebook page. But if you're ready to go and you're comfortable, we'll begin. Here it is. So we're hiring sharpshooters to man the wall. If you can pass the marksmanship test, you'll be paid double the minimum wage to start. Get free room and board if you choose to live in the barracks. Earn a bonus for confirmed kills and have half your medical and dental insurance paid. 2 weeks vacation after 9 months on the wall, and you'll work a standard 40-hour per week shift, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And even though you have brought your own weapon, you can choose a new weapon of your choice, paid for by the state. What do you think? Sounds pretty good to me, Bibi told the woman. Where do I sign? First, let's see how well you can shoot, the woman said with a grin. She stood up and motioned for Bibi to follow her. He grabbed his gun case and did just that. She led him through the big old church, finally out a back door that opened at the base of the wall next to metal stairs that led up to the top of the wall. She climbed, and Bibi followed. They reached the top of the wall and walked out onto a 20-foot wide platform that hung over the wall about 5 feet on either side. There were sandbags at the edge. The woman pointed out over a flat area filled with dust and clumps of weeds. If you look closely, you can see plastic gallon milk jugs. They're filled with water, and they're painted red at 50 yards, yellow at 100 yards, green at 200 yards, and blue at 250 yards. Let's see what you can hit. 3 shots at each distance, please. Bibi unpacked his rifle, loaded it, and stood sighting the first red jug. He was confident and took his time, talking himself through Papa's drill. He took the first one straight ahead, dead center. He turned to his right and took the second one, dead center. He turned left and took the third, easy as pie. Now for the yellows. Bibi needed to be steady. He sat on the floor and crossed his legs, his body angled about 45 degrees to the first jug, his ankles flat to the ground. He adjusted the sling tension until it was just right. He bent forward a little and rested his elbows over his knees. He was glad that Papa had taught him how to sit. Bibi adjusted the scope and lined up the first yellow jug in his crosshairs. He inhaled and let the breath out and pressed the trigger. And the jug jumped into the air, exploding with almost 2,000 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. But Bibi had hit the jug lower than he had intended. He adjusted his position to aim at the jug on the right. He went through the drill and pressed the trigger. This time, his hit was dead center. He turned to his left, changed his position one more time. When he was ready, the third jug exploded. C'est bon. Bibi reloaded. Now for the green jugs, 200 yards. Bibi and the Marlin had done this before. He reloaded the Marlin and lay down in prone position. Bibi grounded both of his elbows with his supporting elbow directly under the rifle. He arranged his body directly behind his rifle with his right leg slightly bent. He rested the forend of his rifle on the sandbag, sighted the first green jug, and went through Papa's drill slowly and carefully. He finally pressed the trigger. The woman said, "Great shot." Bibi smiled to himself. Bibi adjusted his position to the right for the second jug. He was feeling very good. He found the jug in his sights and went through the drill. He pressed the trigger. The woman said, "You got it, but you hit the side and spun it around. Not perfect, but pretty damn good." Bibi didn't like the sound of that. He moved to aim at the third jug. Feel the target's presence, Bibi. Breathe in and out in steady breaths. Clear your mind, Boog, and think only of that third green jug. Are you ready? Then take a breath and let it out. Press the trigger, Bibi. Keep your head down and married to the stock through the shot. "You got all of that one," the woman said. "Do you want to try the blues?" Bibi smiled. "I've got 3 rounds left." "Sure." He adjusted his position to aim at the blue jug on the left. It sat on a tree stump, about 3 feet off the ground. Bibi looked through the scope and saw that there was a slight breeze blowing from left to right. And then the breeze stopped, and a few seconds later it blew again. Bibi took his time. When it was time to press the trigger, he did, and he watched the blue jug through the scope. He saw the bullet hit the center of the stump about 3 inches below the jug. Damn. If that was a zombie, the woman said, its chest would be splattered all over Kansas, and you could take your time finishing it off. I'll try that one again, ma'am, Beebe said, if you don't mind. He could hear the smile in the woman's voice. Be my guest, she told him. Beebe adjusted his aim, went through the drill, and fired. This time, he knew he had hit the blue jug in the middle of the middle. The woman's whoop confirmed his notion. You're quite the marksman, young man, she said. Ma'am, Beebe said, you didn't tell me that there were people out there on this range. What are you talking about? The woman asked in a sharp voice. There's a thicket just to the left of the stump where the blue jug was that I just hit. The bushes are moving, and it's not the wind. Beebe looked around and saw the woman lift her binoculars. She scanned the range for a minute and said, yes, you're right. There is something moving out there. It's none of our folks, but it might be an immigrant. Don't shoot until you know. How am I supposed to know, ma'am? Beebe asked. Look at the way it walks. A zombie is stiff, and it shuffles more than walks. You've got plenty of time. I'll keep my binoculars on it and see what I can see. The bushes moved. Something was out there, just moving branches and leaves. And then Beebe saw a flash of straw blonde hair. And then it disappeared behind a tree. And on the other side of the tree, he saw the hair again, long, flowing down past a girl's shoulders. A blue ribbon tied in a bow at the top of her head. The girl moved out into the little clearing to the left of the thicket. The girl wore a pretty blue and white sundress that was cut just above her knees. Beebe moved the scope down and saw her shapely legs. She was barefoot. Beebe smiled. And then he moved the scope up past her dress to her face. Her mouth hung open slackly. Her eyes stared unfocused, somewhere out ahead. Her arms were thrown out ahead of her as if to warn her of objects a blind woman might run into. He adjusted the scope to let him see her whole body. Her awkward shuffling was a crude parody of human locomotion. The blonde hair and pretty dress that had first drawn his attention now seemed a grotesque counterfeit of the woman his imagination had expected. Beebe had 1 round left in his rifle. The zombie travesty made him angry, and he promised himself that he would not need to reload. He centered the reticle's crosshairs on the zombie's cute little button nose. Feel the zombie's disgusting presence. Beebe was certain that he could smell the zombie's rotten stench. Beebe cleared his mind, thinking only of blowing its head off its undead body. He would only get 1 shot, but that would be enough. Inhale. Exhale. In the calmness at the end of the breath, press the trigger. Follow the shot to its end. The zombie's head exploded in a spray of misty blood, chunks of brains, and splinters of bone. As its head disappeared, its body dropped to the ground, finally still as death. You've got a job if you want it, young man, Beebe heard the woman say. I'll take it, he said. We'll see you next week.